Good morning, everyone. Today we're doing a video where I'm going to be going over different fountain pen setups for different budgets. So let's say you're new to fountain pens, or maybe you have a fountain pen and you just kind of want to expand the collection, or just get a proper setup. Maybe you don't have a proper fountain pen setup. You don't have inks or good paper. I want to go over some good setups that you can get so that you're getting as much as you can out of your fountain pen for what I would consider a reasonable price. And we have lots of different price points here. We have $100, not $100, $10, $20, $50, $100, $200, and then over $200. Because I think it depends on who you ask, but in my opinion, $200 to $300 is where you start getting significant diminishing returns. So that's kind of where I stopped. Plus, I feel like if you're looking to get your first proper pen setup, I can't imagine many people are going to want to spend more than $200. But the pen at that price point makes it worth it, so I felt like it was worth including. So let's go ahead and get started. So at $10, things were difficult. I really looked through what I could, and I should also mention every single one of these setups is going to be very specific, or very biased, I should say, because it's really, a lot of things with fountain pens are really up to personal preference. And if you don't have enough fountain pen knowledge, it's hard to know what your preference is. So what I could be saying, not even 10 years, a year or less down the line, you could realize that you don't even like that fountain pen as much anymore. But I feel like these are all good recommendations that anyone can enjoy. So take all of this with a grain of salt, I guess. Consider it more entertainment than education, if that makes you feel better. But these are just like what I would recommend. If someone came to me and was like, okay, I have $10 and I want to try out fountain pens and have it be enjoyable, what should I buy? I have two things: paper and a pen that comes with a cartridge. This is bare bones. I could not afford to put any ink in here. I guess I could if I did like a really cheap pen, but I want this to be enjoyable. I don't want someone to say, I have $10, what should I buy? And then I recommend a $1 or $2 Jinhao that breaks as soon as they look at it. It's a balancing act. So what I recommend is the Pen Plus Gear heavyweight notebook. Spiral notebook. The heavyweight paper is especially nice. This is the paper I used for my daily ink vent swatching. Let me find that page. And it shows all of the ink properties very well. At this price point, having it show shimmer and sheen and shading so well and still be kind of smooth is really nice. Because a lot of paper I've tried that's super cheap is always extremely feedbacky. And while some people might like that, I don't think you should throw them right into the deep end of extremely feedbacky with a slightly feedbacky nib. I think I should kind of lean a little more towards the middle ground, and I think this does that. It's still got a little bit of feedback. It's not as smooth as something like Tomoe River or Cosmo, but it's good. Good paper, and it is only $2.42 for this notebook. And you do have to pick it up at a Walmart store. They don't ship, but for $2.42, I think that's worth it. There is hair on me somewhere. I feel it. Okay. The pen I would recommend is the Platinum Little Meteor, which I will be talking about next week's video. Will be a tiny little review about these guys. But you can get one on AliExpress with shipping for $8.13, and it does come with a single cartridge of black ink, which should be enough to figure out if this is something you're interested in. And if you are, then you can get more cartridges or get a converter and bottle of ink down the road. But that should be enough to get you started, at least. $20 starts to get a little more fun, slightly. So for the paper, I recommend the same Walmart heavyweight Pen Plus Gear notebook heavyweight paper, college ruled. Of course, you can get wide ruled if you want, but I have the college ruled. The pen, I recommend the little meteors again. And then what you can do is, there's a different listing on AliExpress that comes with a converter. It's $8.63, so it's an extra 50 cents, but it does come with a converter. So then you can also buy 2 bottles of ink on AliExpress. The total for that is $20.87. So this one and the last one did go a teeny bit over the budget, but when you're working with this budget, it's just what's going to happen. If you can't get that extra 87 cents or the extra 55 cents from the last one, let me know. I will PayPal you that extra change if it's that dire. At $50, it starts to get a bit easier to fit things within the budget. So I have one notebook, and that's the Midori MD for $13.75. I don't have mine with me right now. I can't find it, which is very concerning. I don't know where it went. And then for the pen, I have the TWSBI Swipe for $28.50. And the reason the TWSBI Swipe is so great is because it has so many filling options. What do I have in it currently? Looks like I have the piston converter, but it also comes with a pressy converter. What do you call those? I forget. My brain's not working right now. As well as a cartridge, and you can also eyedropper the ink straight into the pen body. So lots of filling options, which makes it a great beginner fountain pen, in my opinion. And I think it's comfortable. I think it looks nice. There's a few color options. That is one downside, is there aren't a ton of color options like other fountain pens. But I think it's a pretty good pen. And I think it can fit a lot of hand shapes. Sizes, I mean. But yeah, decent nib. Good pen for about $30. And then I would also recommend picking up 1 bottle of diamine ink for a 30 milliliter one for $7.50. You can just pick whichever one you think you like, and your favorite color or a fun looking one, whatever. And what you could also do, a little bonus option, instead of the Midori MD, you could again get this Pen Plus Gear notebook to save money on paper, and then get another diamine ink if you want to switch things up. You can get 2 inks and this notebook. And honestly, not a terrible option. This paper's really good. Midori MD is nice and all, but $13 for a small A5 notebook compared to almost $3 for this Walmart notebook with lots of paper, big paper. This is really decent paper. I don't think that's a bad option. So that just kind of depends on what you want to do. Midori MD will be smoother, and it's also a like off-white kind of creamy notebook. So you can take a look at both and decide which you want, but you can't go wrong with either one of those options. At $100, I would recommend again that Midori MD notebook, as well as the Rhodia dot pad. This isn't quite the dot pad, but this is similar to it. I have a bunch of junk in here, but you can just fold it over, and it's just like a little pad of paper. Rhodia is really good for shading. Midori MD is decent as well, but Midori will show like shimmer and sheen if you end up getting really nice ink in the future, which we'll get into that in a second. And I figure it's a decent paper to have around. It's a little bit cheaper at $6.95. And it's usually my go-to like cheap, just have around paper that works decent with fountain pens. The pens, I'd recommend a 4-pack of Platinum Little Meteors. This category of my $100, I feel like this is going to be the most controversial one. But yeah, I would go with a 4-pack of Little Meteors for $23.54. And you can also, with the remaining budget, get 7 30-milliliter bottles of Diamine inks. So that's why I'm going with that. I feel like it's a little bit more fun to get 4 pens and 7 inks. You could also get like 2 bigger bottles. What are those, like 60 or 80? I think they're 80 milliliters. And then 2 or 3 small 30 milliliter bottles. You could switch it up depending on, you know, how many inks you want. Like you could get 1 or 2 big bottles of your favorite colors and then a couple smaller bottles of more specialty inks. But it's more fun to kind of mix and match, I think. If you have 4 pens with 4 different colors, you can use them for school and, you know, color code, or use it for art and do different art stuff in different colors. I think that gives you a bit more possibilities, so that's why I would recommend it. And I would also get an ink syringe for $2.50 because that 4-pack of Little Meteors does not come with a converter. However, that seller I know does sell platinum converters for, I think, $4 a piece. So if you have that little bit extra over $100, you could get that, and that makes your life just a little bit easier. But you can get the ink syringe to get ink out of the bottle, and then you put it in the converter the cartridge that the Little Meteors come with. So not the most ideal setup, but pretty good option. If you only want 1 pen, I would say get the Mahjong C1. I shill for that pen any chance I get. It's a great pen, and it's about that same price. And you would not need to get the ink syringe. You would just need to get inks. And again, you could get a variety of different inks. I'm going with Diamine for all of these recommendations just because they're just such a safe, good bet and great inks. So why not? So that would be a total of $99.25. At $200, I would again recommend the Midori MD or the Pen Plus Gear if you want to save a couple bucks, as well as the Rhodia Dot Pad. They're just 2 good papers to have around that aren't going to break the bank. I cannot talk. Pen, I would recommend the Pilot Custom 74. I have the blue one here, but you know, you can get the black one on Pensachi for $110, plus shipping is $20, I think. So that'd be about $130. And the black one has all sorts of nibs. So if you want a really super fine nib, you can do that. You can get an extra fine. If you want some crazy specialty nib, I think you can get like Musics and just all sorts of weird nibs on the black Custom 74. So lots of options there. I have mine here with a medium. I don't know how close I can get in still focus. So yeah, decent pen. It does not come with a converter. I am just now remembering that. But you can add one on for, I think you can get the Con 40 for $5 maybe. I think the Con 70, which I have here, is like $10 or $15, something crazy. But you can add the converter on the site, and I think there's enough money in the budget for that. Because I also recommend 6 30-milliliter Diamine inks, which again, you can kind of change that up and get bigger, smaller bottles. Get less bottles, but more ink in the bigger bottles, or more bottles of smaller inks, if that makes sense. Up to you on, you know, what colors you want and how many options you want. And then you'd also want to add in that converter, which I didn't do, so not including the converter, the total is $195.70. And then at $200, I'm again recommending the same 2 papers, the Midori MD as well as the Rhodia Dot Pad. or you can get a few of these Walmart Pen Plus Gear heavyweight notebooks. Honestly, a great option. And then the pen, I would recommend the Lamy 2000 for $223.20 from JetPens. Classic pen. It is a bit love it or hate it, admittedly. If you're able to try pens in real life, would highly recommend that you do that, or order the pen from somewhere that you can return it after trying it. What I'd recommend is, again, ordering from somewhere that you can return it if needed. Don't ink it up at first. See how it feels in your hand, if it feels comfortable. If it does, then ink it and hope that you like it. People that like it really love it. People that don't like it really hate it. So it's kind of bad, but that's why I said at the beginning of this video, this is about my recommendations. So here we are. It's a great pen. I love it. There's a few other pens you could put in this price range, so if you want different recommendations, let me know. But like I said earlier, I think this video might be more entertainment than education, but yeah. And then again, just 6 or however many timing inks, because you're at the over $200. Get however many inks you want, I suppose. You can get 2 Lamy 2000s if you want. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, definitely let me know, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.
Putin versus people. Evil versus good. Spank that little prick. Bare ass against wood.